Well, good morning, everybody. This is Dear Mama Sal on a beautiful Thursday morning. Thursday. For those of you who don't know, I don't work on Fridays. So Thursday is my Friday, and it is 15 degrees here in southern British Columbia, which would make it 59 in American. And a very good morning to you all, or whatever it is, wherever it is when you are watching this. I'm well aware that I have people watching me from throughout the world. And you know, there's sometimes when that just touches my soul just more than a little bit. And I'm well aware that, you know, each of you watches or listens to the vlogs at a different time and space. And therefore, I may record this in the morning, but as we know, I put it up at night. And for some of you, you listen to it at night, and some of you listen to it, I'm pretty sure, during the day, or when I'm snoring away at night. I mean, I know some of you who listen to go to sleep. I've always thought that's such an interesting compliment. Yeah, I listen to yourself when I want to go to sleep. But I understand. And then there are others that tell me they wake up listening to me. I can't imagine. Anyway, and then there are others that I know listen to me when they're in pain. I know at least one. Antonio, every time you write and tell me about this, it makes my life change. Because Turner listens to me sorry, I just need to get into another lane, and the guy beside me is being a Richard. Anyway, so and Turner listens to me because she sometimes feels lonely and needs family around her, and that's when she listens. Wow, what a compliment is that. So I am very touched by that, very touched indeed. The same way as whoever it was that wrote to me this morning, and I'm sorry that my mind doesn't function well enough in the mornings, but whoever wrote to me this morning and said they enjoyed yesterday's vlog so much they listened to it twice. And I'm going, really? You'll forgive me, but really? And then I go, what the heck did I say? That was interesting enough to listen to it twice. But never mind, let me not be the judge of my own work. And I call it work, but you know what I mean. So when I think about it, I look at it and I go, one thing I do know, if you're going to be a YouTuber, you need to be original in what you do. And because, you know, so many people are doing so much. And it was really funny when I decided, well, you know, with Benji's push, when, you know, I mean, he threw me in the deep end and said, swim. When I decided to do this, I had a choice to do it very formally or to do it very informally. And as Benji had always said, that my stories were what stuck with him. And he heard those stories when I was speaking. Then I decided I was going to do this as informally. Another little Richard. Anyway, so I decided I was going to do as informally as I could, and that was, as you know, while I drove my car, for these sort of things, where I would do the teaching moments, if you like. And I was just really touched because whoever that was this morning also said, I think it was Bambi, now that I think about it, also said, the way that I chose to teach was so gentle. In other words, I wasn't ramming it down people's throats, and I thought that was a very nice comment. Thank you very much indeed. But you know, I really am a great believer that if you're going to try and help people, don't make them feel small. If you're going to help people, let them see that they're not the only ones that make these mistakes, and that in that there is hope. I keep thinking about the fact that I lost 3 pounds and then this morning found out I put 2 back on again. Now, for a lot of you, you know what that feels like. And for a lot of you, I bet you're going, Sal, you lost control. I did, I guess. But you know, what you know about me, those of you who've been listening to me a long time, is I don't quit. I might not do it right. I might not do it right, but I don't quit. It took me 65 years of my life to quit smoking. Well, that's not true. 50 years to stop smoking. I'm trying to think when I started. Probably 15, 16. So, 16. So to me, what is wonderful about living your life is don't quit on the things you really want to achieve. Now, the funny thing is, in one way and another, if you track through my life, in one way or another, I have always tried to share knowledge. I have never pretended to know it all. Quite the opposite. My main speech as an international speaker was you don't have to be perfect, because that was the only thing I was an expert in, not being perfect. And you know, I realized then that people needed that message. Yes, I agree with the model that says, you know, go for perfection, and I understand that. But there are only certain personalities that are capable of that level of focus. Maybe that's not true. Maybe we're all capable of it at some core level. So let me just think about that. I'm pretty sure that most of us are capable of it if we had the... Another Richard. If we had the mental faculties to go with it. Because I think to be that disciplined, to be that whatever, you know, you need a lot of specific training. Let's be honest, when they take young men and women into the military and go through their basic training, their basic training is about discipline. Basic and fitness, right? Basic training is about, I say jump and you say yes sir or ma'am, how high, you know, or you just jump. So you look at it and you go, most of us have to be trained to be that focused. You have to be trained not to query, not to question, not to doubt. You have to be trained to just react. And that's what basic training is all about. And so some of you have been trained to be neat and tidy. I know who you are. And some of us, not so much. Perhaps Manon and I win the prize of the bedroom issue. And there is part of me that deeply, deeply envies those that were trained that way. And yet I know I know that I have the discipline, if I wanted it, to be able to do it a whole lot better than I'm doing it at the moment. So I watch my behavior every evening, and a lot of it is predicated on the fact that I get home and then I start working on videos. I have to eat, obviously, but mostly my evening is taken up with editing and uploading a video. There are gaps in between where I answer emails and comments and stuff. But basically, when I get home from work, that's the rest of my evening. So my question to myself is, when do I fit in the discipline bit? Something has to give if you're going to do that. Now, as you know, for me, I decided I was going to give myself a full day off from having to put up videos and stuff, and that was Saturday. It doesn't mean that I don't record anything on a Saturday if I'm doing something that I think will be fun, but I do actually give myself permission not to have to do that. And it's, and to be able to go out in the evening and see my friends and not do broadcasts and so forth. So, you look at it and you go, it's my life, right? And we choose how to live it. So the point that I'm trying to make here is that I think each of us needs to look at what we do and don't do and why. So we started on talking a bit about goals yesterday. In the way in which you live your life, it should tell you. It should tell you a lot about what your goals in life are. For example, I was saying earlier that, people have made some really nice comments this morning, but one of the ones that struck me was the fact that I had chosen to change my route to work, to avoid the construction area, the road construction. I thought it was so cute that somebody said, I bet you those construction people, those flag people, for example, are missing your smile. And I thought, how nice is that? And by the way, you could be right, because I did make sure I gave them a beaming smile every morning. And if I could. And when I say if I could, if they happen to be facing me, because sometimes, they chose to turn their backs on me. So, yeah, it's a very important thing to look at and go, did I just deprive somebody of my stunning smile? And, yeah, well, they'll get over it. Really, they'll get over it. Because the route I'm taking actually works really well. It's a little bit, feels a little bit like going backwards to go forwards, but it's far, far less stressful. And I don't have to do nearly as much editing, because you understand, when I take the other route, there are these long gaps when I'm concentrating on what's going on, It's a very difficult time. And no, I didn't swear there and cut it out. So, I look at life in some strange ways, I guess. Now, one of the strange things for me is to find out that in the last 28 days, one of my viewer countries, I might have discussed this before, it's turned out that after, the US, Canada, the UK, Australia, I think it is, and then the fifth now is, if you can believe it, India, which surprised me big time. So ki halaji to all the people in India. And yeah, I know some of you are going, what did she just say? Did she swear now? So for that surprised me. But here's the other thing. when I said, sometimes you have to look at your goals and study it to find out what's going on, because you might not know, and you need to know, I believe, that overall, in a lifetime of doing this, which is nearly 3 years now, when I looked at those figures, I've got a hair or something. Have you ever had that way? Huh? It's probably stuck to my lipstick. In a lifetime, the fourth highest earner, now be it very small amounts of money, that isn't the issue. For me, I think it's fourth or fifth, turned out to be Sweden. Sweden? Yay! If I could say good morning in Swedish, I would. It's just like, really? Why? I have no idea. Absolutely no idea at all. But thank you very much indeed. I'm very grateful for the clicks that you do on the ads, or whatever it is that you do that makes me the odd cent here and there. Thank you. I'm very, very grateful. So, you look at it and you really don't know in your life, do you? So the point here is that I think each of us starts life with what we think is our goal. Let's be honest. How many of you, whether you're male or female, and by the way, I noticed that the male viewership is really starting to increase, and I'm not sure why of that either. But thank you. So, what I'm saying is that when you start life, you probably thought you were going to be a superhero or a princess or something like that. Do you know what I mean? And so my question is, have you noticed that as you grow up, okay, I've been distracted. There's a lady of about my age, I would think, I would say, she's obviously mowed the lawn, but she's out, I'd take a picture, but I don't want to do this to anybody, but she's out there in long bloomers, that's what it looks like. But what's so delicate about it is they are pink, and she has like a grey singlet top on, but it's the black ankle socks in the sandals that really caught my attention. Now, logically, I'm thinking the socks are probably there to protect her feet from the dust of mowing the lawn. But at this time of the morning, that was not a sight I needed to see. Yeah. So as you grow up, you start changing. You start changing your goals. You start changing your dreams a little. And then as you get into middle age, you really start changing them. And then as you get over the hill, as I have talked about yesterday, that very fast slippery slope, and suddenly you start reevaluating. What is it you want to do? And the strange thing is, for me, the really strange thing is, as I look back through my life, which I do quite often in the back of my mind while I'm doing these vlogs, I guess in some way I've always been helping people. So when I asked what would I be doing, you remember that question that Benji said, what would I be doing if I weren't doing YouTube? I know I'd still be helping. I'd be involved in some organization helping people. And I think that's an important thing to know about yourself. That is who you are. And I think all too often people say, oh, I don't know what it is I want to do in my life. Well, have a look at your life. Have a look at your life. And other than the obvious things like get up, get dressed, go to work, or whatever, what do you do with your life? Now, I bet a lot of you say not much. But I bet you do way more than you think you do. I bet you care for people or animals, or I bet you are a real mother hen, or you spend your life being really organized, or you spend your life being an absolute slob. I don't know what it is, because most slobs I found are quite creative people. So, don't look at being a slob as a bad thing necessarily. It's just you spend your time doing other things that you enjoy more. And for some of you, you may hoard. That tells another story. So most people have really good reasons for doing what they do. It's within their nature. Well, can you believe this? I go all the way out of my way to avoid a construction zone, and now on a second part of my route to work, they have decided to pull up the road. Ask me how amused I am with that. To have to take a double detour is going to really mess with my mind. Never mind. So today, everybody, have a look at your life. Some of you will have done a timeline of your life. I've never done that. I think it'd be way too complicated in my view. But have a look at your life and see, what have you always done? Have you always, as I said, cared for animals? Or have you always been a family sort of person? I bet you there's some consistencies that start right early on in your life and have continued throughout your life. And for those of you who are younger, be aware of what you do naturally. It's not that you necessarily train for it or studied to do it or work hard to do it. It's just what you do naturally. And the chances are that's what your purpose in life is. I cannot tell you how many times I have tried to take detours away from being a teacher, if you like, of things. Because I think basically, whether I've done it as being a speaker or a YouTuber or whatever, I think basically the bottom line is I love to teach people things and hopefully find fun ways in which to teach them. And so, I look at it and I go, I've always had that. It's not something new. I've always been a learner, but also been a teacher. And I think that's a personality thing. So, have a good day. Enjoy your day, afternoon, evening, whatever it is, wherever you are, whenever you listen to this. And give that some thought. And by the way, you can take a major detour away from that purpose, whatever that is. And I've done it. I really have. I've done it and taken a really big leap away, tried to get away from it all and do something totally different. And life will bring me right back. And then be amused. Because you go, okay, guess this is what I was meant to do after all. Because it feels right. Look after one another, and for all of you on the Dear Mama Sal network who do look after one another, I will never be able to thank you enough. My dream was to be able to spread the word enough and teach enough people to care for one another, that it would spread and people would do it more and more. And I know it's happening. And it is the greatest gift you could give me. Because, as I've said many times, the work that you do, looking after one another, allows me to do the work that you don't see. And that's normally a little bit more complicated. On that very real note, this is Dear Mama Sal saying, have a great day. Bye-bye for now.